Right. Let's start by saying all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh. Apostles and elders, great millstone of Ruma, and Shalom to the brother and everyone soon. Yeah, I had again in London, once again pushing this word out, man. Got a crazy storm going around. So I found out like the chick that got killed like Haringey yesterday, like a tree fell on the car, wiped her out, man. So it's time of judgment, man. That's the thing. That's become like these things are becoming normal. Where you hear about these chaotic events.
Because you said it wipes her out. Eunice, etymology goes back to the Greek female given name, Greek word meaning good victory.
Yeah.
Victory of the Heavenly Father.
Yeah, because hey, it's a time of judgment. We're in the midst of the end of this age, man. This rulership of Esau, all that's coming to an end. All the vanity, all the beliefs that people have of how the world's going to continue. These things are being found to be lies, man. It's all in the bin. That's hey.
Esau basically being exposed to the last phase. And that's what the Heavenly Father doing. It starting by basically utilizing these men that I told you in the book of Jeremiah 28 and 8 about prophets of old went before many kingdoms of evil, war, evil, and pestilence. And basically we're doing the same thing this time. And this is the last time we're doing it, right? The Heavenly Father's mouthpiece is being utilized time for the last time because as I told you in the book of 2nd Ezra, 6th chapter, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of his followers. So, hey, we're basically, ushering in the kingdom of heaven, right? Give them no peace until you make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. You got a precept?
Yeah. Second bit of 3, and start from verse 3. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, looking after their own lusts. And we'll reason about this before. They're all caught up in the world, man. People are basically the things that people worship now. It's moved from the idols that they used to revere. Now they're reverencing the things that Esau presented, man. They're reverencing power, money. These are the things that they're investing their spirit into, and that's what holds power over them. That's why as far as for them, they don't see anything beyond this kingdom. Because they're looking at it like, yo, this is it, this is an apex, this is as good as it gets. There's a quote from Game of Thrones, it's a spectacular quote, from Varys. He said, what power resides where people think it resides. That's why you go back to the Philistines, you go back to these ancient nations, they would have their idols. But these idols, what were they doing? Dagon, what was he doing? It was a statue. It was there. He couldn't move his mouth, he couldn't walk down. Nimrod, he couldn't do shit. Man put the tree out there, Nimrod wanted to step out the tree and uppercut them. That wasn't going to happen. But what? These guys put the faith, they'll sit there believing all these things that stone water. And now it's the same thing. People worship money. People look at dollar bills. Like the way you watch some rap videos, the way they're finding them dollar bills, they're dealing with like some form of it's witchcraft onto them, man. Because witchcraft on those notes. Hey, but what? They're finding. That's what they put in their time and energy. Anything to get the bag. That's what in the modern world it is. People, Lamborghinis, yachts, flying jet setting, having a social media where you can sit on there and have thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people give you likes. Those are the things that people are deifying. But all of it is dust. You might as well get what you're gonna get.
Yeah, quick one. To back you up. Psalm 96, I'll get straight to the point. 96 and 4 and 5. It says, for the Lord Yahweh is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord Yahweh made the heavens.
Yeah, all the gods of the nations, they're idols. All these different things that people are putting their time and energy into, it's all idols. People, it's more or less people trying to find some way to try and deify themselves on the earth. They're trying to become like gods on earth, because that's something that filters down from the elites too. They've created this whole celebrity culture that's really been amped up from like after World War, when TV, more for TV, because that really let you broadcast, pass some wide range spells onto the whole nation, to where everyone's all in one accord with one kind of culture or mindset. Then everyone's like, oh, they're looking at late night with whatever, like Larry King or whatever. They're thinking, oh, this guy, everyone's basically looking and holding him in high regard.
And then you had idols, pop idols.
Oh,
Even with
yeah.
Sam Cowell in the late 90s, going into the early 2000s, he established that show.
Oh,
We had
reality TV as well,
reality
because
TV as
that
well,
linked
yeah.
up with reality
The
TV.
Real World, yeah.
All that shit, because I think it was like, what, Jersey Shore, all those American ones.
It
as well,
started with the Real World.
The Real World. Because those developed essentially into what? Into people looking at things like, oh, you can just be a regular guy and then get some form of fame, and then everyone's all feeding into it. And that's become like the mindset. And social media is layered on top to where it's like, what? People are basically trying to attain some form of godhood on the earth.
Well, you can remember before they had social life. They used to have people
Paris Hill.
yeah, people affluent in society, yeah, that would have some kind of pull when the eyes of the people. They would have regarded them in some light. I mean, all they did was they'll just go to the party. They'll be around a celebrity
people who have some people of talent or regard,
and they'll be snapped by the paparazzi in the papers and all that type of stuff. And there's some talentless individuals. They just have some kind of, pool in society.
usually monetary.
Yeah, like a long lost lineage of the royal family, or it may be, a tycoon relative, or some tie-in. But then now they all look like Real World, reality TV. You had the onset of people basically getting pulled in to that world. So now down to the point of where we're at today with social media, dealing with Instagram. They said if you have 1,000 followers, you're an influencer basically. So you think about something like that will basically open it as to where within society there's how many, let's even take the UK for example, the population of this country is 68 million people. So how many thousands are in a million? 10,000, 100, right? I mean, I'm gonna confuse 10,000, 100,000, 10. That's what we're trying to do. 10, 100,000. Alright? So it's 100,000, 100,000. Alright? So that's 1 million. 1 million you got 10 million. What? Give up. I want to give up.
You'll have tens of thousands of people that can have a influence.
Yeah.
It's basically debased it to the point where it's essentially meaningless. But in people's minds, they'll deify it. If you get, especially this up and coming generation, they'll look at that like, they'll give it regard.
Yeah.
But let me read on a bit, and then because it's got in the weeds. 2 Peter 3 and 5. But this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. So you had earth before where it was done away with, man. That shit got completely wiped out. And that was why, because the wickedness was hit a fever pitch. It overflowed to a point where it was like, yo, this is irredeemable. It's going to be done away with, and we're going to have a fresh start. And what was I going to read? Let me just look at it again. Oh yeah. Let me read this. So Matthew 24 and 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. But as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. So that's what's going down back then. Something before happening right now. You had hella weddings happen after, as soon as like summer like 2021. It's been weddings non-stop because people had to stop it off over the lockdown. They might have planned it, but it was during lockdown or whatnot, or it got delayed or pushed back. So people are getting all kinds of marriages. As far as everything opening back up, people have been doing blissing themselves off to the max. They've been trying to enjoy themselves as much as possible. And that's really been the mindset. The mindset has been like, take your life back, enjoy everything. Go out, do certain things, take control back, plan your holidays, all this. But then what? It's these things are all in vain. Why? Just as it was in the days of Noah, there was a time limit. We're here, and that was it. It's done. Like, people, all kinds of fruit. You gonna say that?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna be with this as well. Ecclesiastes 10 and 6 says, folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place. So that's really what it's turned to. Folly is a thing that is held in esteem. Because a lot of people that have fame are entertainers. That's why footballers, you go back to like 80s, 60s, 70s, these guys weren't making a killing. And it links up with what? Broadcasting TV. Because the main fields where they make money is TV.
You mentioned football, maybe the guy that kicked the cat.
Back
Not in back.
now, looking back,
Or Zuma or something like that.
yeah, like different videos.
But it's basically, I found one meme in it. Like, it's a meme with the cat on the stand and pointing at Zuma. That's
He's the one who did it.
And then there's another one, they're chanting inside a pub. They got a chant, and then the second slide, they're throwing up a Noah cat.
But hey, that's the memes, man.
What I was gonna say though, you just had the NFL Super Bowl just go past. They had a big performance, halftime, Super Bowl halftime show. Only this Super Bowl really started in more recent time and really crossed over there. Never really,
When they started doing celebrations.
over here, yeah. Like within the past decade. So no one in the UK really fucks with it unless it's like they went to American football somehow. But the point being is that halftime show kind of transcended past the NFL. And that was done with the intention of, because I want to, that goes to the point of Jay-Z, well, starting with Colin Kaepernick. Because Colin Kaepernick was basically bowing the knee in opposition to all the things that's going on with Jake in America. He had them, the uproar and everything. Then here comes Jay-Z swooping with his cape, saying, I think we're past the meeting now. We need to do something. Right? And then basically he's come back. And this halftime show was basically part of what he was implementing. Alright? And it shows you that you niggas, man, are just tap dancing fools, man. Because everyone was saying we ain't watching no American football, we ain't fucking this, we ain't doing this. But now they got the bloody Avengers of Black America showing up on have 50 Cent flying from the ceiling, alright, all in the name of basically, fucking up the NFL and everything. Alright, and this is because celebrities are held in high esteem. All the woes and the tribulation that Jake is going through, all they need to do is do some folly, some tap dancing, because it says such high dignity that everyone forgot about everything, man. The low still seeing the low place, man. Being us. And Jake are so simple, he didn't even think about it, he didn't even question it. It's like, yeah, they did a good show. Meanwhile, you just had Robert Kraft, one of the main, I believe he's the owner of the New England Patriots, he basically had a brunch called the Billionaire Brunch. And you had Meek Mill and Jay-Z there, man. So these guys are lesson luminaries. They serve to a greater purpose and basically bringing these prophecies off the page and into life, into light. Alright?
Second Peter 3 and 7. But the heavens and the earth which are now by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. That's a key part, that perdition of ungodly men. Because as far as Jake, focus on Jake's that's a key focus. Jake, they're more or less within this world. They're really thinking that more or less they've forgotten the Most High. They've forgotten the truth. They don't know their identity. They ain't connected to it in any way, shape, or form. So they're really out here just kind of trying to live life, do what they're doing. And that's the thing. If you don't have faith, don't fear. How about you outside? So what? They're the one who do fear is Esau. Let me read this.
I'll go.
Give yours.
Revelation 20 and 6. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Yahushua or Hamashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Now, what would it say? Blessed they that have part in the first resurrection. Now, the first resurrection is basically going to take place when you read up in the first verse. It talks about New Jerusalem coming up. I mean, actually, maybe the 21st chapter of Revelation tells you about Jerusalem coming down from heaven. That's the first resurrection. Changing the twinkling of an eye, being brought into life, full life, right? Being immortal. Void of death, basically. But then it said have no part in the second death. What was the first death? For them to be infected. The first death was basically that of the flood, right? And that would serve as basically a marker for, as it says, the day that you are looking about Sodom and Gomorrah, someone to keep in remembrance, yeah? But this is why there's going to be a second death, because people ain't keeping it in remembrance. And the first death, showing you how the Heavenly Father works, is done by water. He flooded the earth, opened up the heavens, made it rain, broke open the rivers, the waters, allowed them to overflow the earth, and basically people to die. Now, water and fire are both cleansing agents, right? So, he cleansed the earth the first time with the water, but this time the level of wickedness has never, the level of wickedness that's been seen on this earth it's never been a time like this. So the Heavenly Father is going to utilize fire, right, to purge the land. Because as well, the earth has been, going back to the time of the garden, it's been corrupted, right? This place that we're living in, I was watching a documentary, and it was one Moabite who basically going around, and it was saying how they turned desert in China, in the north, basically on the border with Mongolia. They turned some of it, like a certain percent, from desert land to back into forestation. And they're basically talking about going to different places like Lebanon, I believe, or Jordan, and it shows them talking to the royal family, the Jordanian royal family. Then it's going down to Ethiopia, and they'll show you different examples of what he's done while we're in forestation. And you know what they did? They just left the earth for 3 years. Showing you that the way this world is, man, it's just the wisdom that we have. That's the reason why it says in the book of Deuteronomy, this shall be your wisdom among the nations. That they'll say, who has a power so nigh unto them? Alright? But the point is, it's at a point now where that is not what can be done to cleanse the earth. The Heavenly Father has to utilize fire, because beyond the deforestation of the earth is into the wickedness, the lowliness within the people, right?
Amos 9 and 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. But all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. That's the modern mindset. And this is something that is not new. As far as, especially with Jake, these things aren't new. Even with the heathen as well, these things aren't new. The way they've been conducting themselves, they even have been living completely backwards lifestyles for the longest time anyhow. They never had wisdom. They never had understanding. Like I went into earlier, these guys were trying to give life unto stone. But then, what is it? For Jake, these guys are basically joint ambushed. And that's been historical. Jacob's love going to the heathen. Those are the lovers, the night mistresses that Jake loved going to see. But then every time that they have power over Jake, they've never dealt with you with any form of love or peace.
That's why in the book of Revelation 11 chapter, it tells you that when we basically walked out of the way of wisdom and the king was dead for 3.5 days, that none of basically all the other nations, they basically sent gifts one to another. They rejoiced over our fall. They were happy, man. They said because these two prophets tormented them on the earth. So this is, hey, Jacob always had a love thing with the heathen and their powers and the mystery of all this type of stuff that they're into. But then when the Jew was an army folk, when it was their time to have power, they didn't regard it, man. They didn't say, yeah, this is fuck you, man. They said, we finally got the no problem for us.
Matthew 10:28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. And that's really the mindset that Jake will be having. Because now they're basically the one they're respecting, the one that they have fear for, the one that they hold in esteem and regard, is in how they operate. Is what is Esau. They're looking at the so-called white man like, okay, so depending on how he deals, that's how they're gonna change the way they operate. But that's you've already failed fundamentally. Because as far as for Esau, his job and his role was what? As a whipping stick. Was basically a punishment onto Jake. This place is not meant to be our rest. This isn't the end of the line. It's not here. We're meant to now, okay, we've been freed out of slavery, so now we're meant to just be pushing forward within this place. That's the complete opposite. Because why? This place is going down too. This place is done up.
And as well, you have examples of our forefathers doing it over in America and what kind of fools they were making on every occasion, right? And why did that happen to them? Because Esau was a wicked thing, right? The land of America was designed for Jacob, the tribes even, to go over there to basically suffer the punishment written in the book of Deuteronomy 28 chapter. That's the reason why you're over there. Now, it's funny because I was reading about this. Now, the thing about America, the valley of the shadow of death. Now, if you're over there, and all that could happen is you could die, niggas would leave straight away. The moment they get a chance. But guess what? It's an enticing affair. Because over in America, it's the golden city, right? Everything's over there. Level of the population, the amount of money that can be generated. So it lends itself as to where even Jake over here in the UK, Jake throughout the world, they'll up and leave, the land of their nativity, right? Like, the UK for example. And they'll fly over to America, even though they see who the hell that Jake goes through. But they'll say, we can make it over there. There's a place for us, right? And that's really the hook, line, and sinker, the banana and the tailpipe, to make Jake go over there, but they suffer a greater hell, all right? So all that good is not gold based. 12. So that's the book of Sirach, 41st chapter, and the first verse says, O death, how bitter is the remembrance of thee to a man that liveth at rest in his possession, unto the man that hath nothing to vex him, and that hath prosperity in all things, yea, unto him that is yet able to receive meat. O death, acceptable is thy sentence unto the needy, and unto those whose strength faileth, that is now in the last age, and is vexed with all things, and to him that despaireth, and have lost patience. Alright? Now, this is the thing about being in the faith. The way that we're in this faith, right? Lord basically, you go into the book of Proverbs, the 30th chapter. Hey, it says, give me enough bread that I don't, give me enough so I don't bring shame upon the name of the Heavenly Father, and not too much where I take the name of the Heavenly Father in vain. Alright? So basically, we receive our daily bread. Okay? So we have to, as Paul said, have a thorn in our side. It gives us a form of diligence and edge, alright? But then, well, still going on the same point, the best example of that is our Lord, Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh Shai suffered when he was on the earth. He actually gave up riches, and he told the young man, the young rich man, in the book of Matthew, the 18th chapter, look, man, all things you do well, keep the law, but if you want to attain, salvation, follow me. Like, leave everything. Get on your riches and follow after. And it was hard for him to do. Because why? He had great possessions in this world. He didn't have that edge. He didn't even want to go step into that place where he had that edge. Right? One more point I was going to mention. Even to that place, when you go to Proverbs, the 30th chapter, you have Queen Bathsheba, right? Bathsheba. Not Queen Bathsheba, Bathsheba, right? Solomon's mother, she told Solomon, the mule, like, strong fruit belong unto them that are ready to perish. Now, funny enough, that was more or less a prophecy, because what happened when the Lord came back later on as Yahweh Shai? He was what known as a man, a gluttonous man, and a winebibber. Because why? He was ready to perish, man. He was a man acquainted with sorrows. Okay? So this life we live, as the brother read it in the book of Matthew, man. Fear not them that have power to kill you, but rather fear the Most High that has power to kill you and your spirit, basically. So that's who we need to regard as to who to be fearful. Because all these other things are part of the game of life.
Ephesians 2 and Ephesians 2 and 1, and you have been quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins, wherein in times past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air. And that's the thing as well. When dealing with this word, that even for all the brothers, basically came, especially overseas, came into the truth from what 2007, 2008 onwards, through online, as a young man who's grown up in the world, doing all forms of madness, eating pork, not keeping the Sabbath, doing all forms of going into the church, all forms of confusion, or off in the world, not knowing what's going on. But that's the thing, is the whole point is meant to be coming out of that state. Because that's the thing it says in 2 Peter, the perdition of ungodly men, the destruction of ungodly men. And that's a big part of what's being separated now. You go back to Egypt. Egypt was the whole nation being brought out to the point where there was absolute degenerate bastards, degenerate, Hebrews that were there that set up an idol when Moses was missing for a little while, receiving the laws. Like these guys set up an idol that was from back in Egypt, the place that they just witnessed get taken from the height of heights to absolute destruction. They saw it themselves and then went back to
one thing that happened. It was 10 different
it was all yeah, it was plagues. And that was known of as well. They knew it was the plagues, they knew it was the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Well, Yahweh back then. Then that's hey, they knew from them. But that's why them hard-headed rock scout, brick, adamant, harder than a flint. Take a sledgehammer to it, the sledgehammer breaks. Forehead ass Jakes. It was too much. And that's the thing. Those are the same guys coming back. Now where it's like you try and show them the word, you can be shown. You can the same guy can come to camp for like 6 months. You see him every week. You talk to him every week. You go over the same scriptures. You break down the same things. The guy's brain does not get it. It does not take root. Hey, them guys is done. And that's the thing, is like now we're at a point in time where they know 6 months. You can't even say they're 6 weeks. This is something you gotta get quick. Because the first verse said what it said, and you he is quickened. Because now it's what? About being quick. From that dead state to being quickened. Because now is a time short.
Just like as Adam was, it tells you in the book of 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, that Adam was made first a living. The first Adam was made a living soul, and the second a quickening spirit. So we walk in the same image of our Lord Yahweh Shai, right? Basically, we're doing the same things. We followed by His quickening, because the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of wisdom, has come upon us, the breath of life, whereby now we walk in the same life.
So it says Ephesians 2:2, wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air. Esau. So we will move, and that's the thing. Really, you're moving in the spirit of Esau. That's the spirit of the world. Everything now that's being pushed out is underneath the so-called white man who's all in his image, and all reflects his spirit. You guys in Wisdom of Solomon 2, it goes into how it has that the old spirit that can do anything, fulfill any lust. That it's going to go into. The spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. And those children of disobedience then, they're back now. They're in that same mindset. Where they might even know they're Israelite. And that's the thing is, that's why knowing you're Israelite is no kind of stretch. When you have, when you have what's it called? Even like celebrities and whatnot coming out and saying, oh, you know, I'm an Israelite. Hey, back in Rome, there would have been gladiators that would have been esteemed. They would have known that Israelites as all up in different levels of Rome, knowing that Israelites. Josephus.
Spartans recorded in the they acknowledge that, look, we're seeing the same kingdom. But then when you deal with Sparta,
the way they were living, conducting themselves, was them man was the Greek of Greeks.
yeah.
They were esteemed and legendary greatness, man. Them men had all the man boy love going on. They had all forms of men and stuff. They had their women in power as well. So it says what? Among, verse 3, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of the flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind. And that's really what you see happening. The same thing that comes back to the flesh. As far as the flesh we're in, it's cursed. This flesh is done up, man. There's no hope left. It's completely toast, man. The creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but why? The flesh is made to be corrupt.
At least the sign that's been from the beginning, going back to the time of Adam. The Heavenly Father broke it down plainly. He said that it is true that man is of flesh. My way won't profit in man, because man is full of flesh. And then Paul breaks it down, man. He said, look, that which I do, I do not. That which I do not do, I do. Basically saying the flesh. And then he goes into the book of 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter as well, about when being at home in the flesh, you're away from the Heavenly Father. And that's why he wanted to be clothed by his heavenly body, so he could be at home with the Heavenly Father. But he knew that it's better for him to be down here to teach the word than to be added to the ministry. And that's our same attitude as well, man. We think we want to be here, man, in this hell. Yeah. We've been thrown been cast into the chains of darkness, right? And we understand that within that, there's a beauty in it, man. Right? It tells you what the fear, the angels look into the things that we go through. They look at us in the flesh and say, damn, man, this is crazy.
Because even, what was I going to say, with,
Come back.
oh, yeah, I was going to say, with, it's the mindset of basically, you know, loving being alive, loving life, you know, that is a good example is Job. He was like, yo, curse the day I was born. Because he was going through all forms of hell. It's like, yo, this is fucked up. I didn't want to be on the sea. I'd rather go be at rest in the heavens. But that's why, because what he saw, everything's in the carnal, everything's in the flesh. He's only thinking about what he can experience within that flesh. So he's not looking at things like, oh, there's more to come after. This is why he will maximize his pleasure, his enjoyment, whatever, through whatever means. Because as far as he sees it, there's not afterwards, there ain't going to be anything going on. And that's the same mindset. They're kind of looking, it's people in the world, everyone's adopted that same spirit where they're not thinking, oh, you know, I need to, okay, what's my legacy going to be, what I'm going to be after, how are people going to regard how I live and all these things. They're just thinking about, oh, I want to enjoy this, I want to experience this, I want to get this amount of bliss. So you try and talk, it's like, I've tried to talk to young women, it's like, you mentioned, about, oh, you know, about having a family or any form of actual, what you call it, like life goals with things you basically want to do whilst you're on the scene. And then they'll just like, oh no, I don't want to talk about that until I'm like at least 35. I'm like, everyone's they're completely disconnected from the operation they're meant to be doing. They're just thinking about bliss, fulfilling the lust of the flesh. Ephesians 2 and 3, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. But the Most High, who is rich in mercy, for his great love, wherewith he loved us, when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Yahushua. By grace ye are saved. And that's really what happened. We had mercy on us. We were them dry, desolate bones in the desert. Then we had that water just dripped up, just dropped on. We were brought back, we were resuscitated, you know, had meat and skin put on the bones, and then we were clothed and given that breath. And that's the thing that has basically allowed us to actually be able to be on some kind of level to actually have some form of life, man. Because even that's like what? That's the truth. The truth basically sets you free. And what John 10 and 10, Yahushua said, I'm coming that they may have life and they may have it more abundantly. It's only through Yahushua, through the word, that we're going to have that life and really the kingdom. So back in
Isaiah 24 and 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein, I feel like I'm spirit God. Therefore the earth lucky, man. That's that lie, alright, lie. Which means, you know, Isaiah 28, about a mocking tongue, you know, being played through the word. So I'll read again, verse 6. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, when they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned and few men left. But yeah, the point being is that, hey, Esau presently, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and the hands of the wicked through Malachi 1st chapter. He has control of the earth right now. And guess what? in his control over the earth, he took the everlasting covenant upon himself, which tells me, told in Psalm the 50th chapter. Alright? Now, one of the main things within the covenant tells you in the book of Genesis, the 1st chapter, the Heavenly Father basically told man to what? Go forth and be fruitful, and multiply. Now, what's happening? People ain't, like the brother just said, people ain't trying to multiply. Right? They're more like, listen, I just want to fuck, have a good time, YOLO. I don't want no baby to come and mess me up, or disease or whatever, but disease is more, not as important as a baby. You know, they'd rather catch a disease. That's it. So, this is the world we're living in, right? And the world in itself isn't even geared towards family can be a thing, a function that can really actually work. Alright? It's just crazy. Mindset, but that's because it's the curse that has devoured the earth.
Back in 2 Peter, so 2 Peter 3 and 8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness. So here you get the understanding of what? The way the Lord deals with time is completely different from how we experience it. Well, as far as the Heavenly Father's concerned, it's been like 2 days. 2 days and change since Yahushua was put on the cross. So that's a short time. Even since Esau's been back, it's been like half a day. His little season truly is a little season. And that's why it's like, you know, you might see like a year, 10 years, 15, but that's nothing. That's like crumbs of sand in the hourglass. So that's why it's like, what? And that's the thing, is Esau's, the little time he thinks now, oh, the Most High's with him. He's thinking, hey, the Lord's basically going to bless what he's trying to do, or have it come to fruition. But that's why he lacks understanding. He's misunderstood something. Something fundamental has not taken root. Because the time span's different. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. And hey, that's, you know, if it were possible, hey, it could be done. But that's not, well, I mean, it can be done, but that's not how the Lord wants it to go down. Because Isaiah 6 and 7 says what? And he laid it upon my mouth and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, Here am I, send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. And that's how the angel's been sent out. Been sent out to blind and to deafen. And that's not to hearing the truth. Because hey, that's the key thing. It's like hearing this word, that you will convert and be healed, man. There's all forms of salvation through it. But you don't, hey, if you can't hear it, you can't get it. You're out there, man. And that's those wicked elements among Jake. Those guys are basically going to be in that state where these things are going to be kept from them. It says what? Verse 10, make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. That's really what it is. They've basically had these things cut off, they've been blinded, they've been deafened. And that's really how the Lord is done. This is now a time of judgment where it's basically those of his elect. The Israel of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. They're the ones who are going to get the shine on it. This is about what? Yahweh Shai. A big part of why these the guys are hungry again is why? It's because they're disrespecting Yahweh Shai. They're basically not trying to put Yahweh Shai to the height he should be at. And that's a big part. Because it's what? It's through that name, that's how we get salvation, through Yahweh Shai.
So salvation is the other name. My Lord Yahweh Shai was
He was basically the mediator for us, for the original covenant. There's no passageway through it. That's why the sheer insanity of someone saying that, oh, you can keep the laws perfect. The whole need for the second covenant is because there's no means by which you keep the word perfect. Because even for that, you got that? No. Romans 8 and let's start from 17. And if children, then heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, if so be that we suffer with him, that we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together. That brings up what the brother said earlier about, hey, this, suffering, being on the scene, trying to be in peace, you've got fundamental misunderstanding. Life ain't gonna be easy, especially when it comes to serving the Lord. It says, what? Prepare yourself for temptation.
set that heart right. Set that heart right. Yeah.
Yeah, constantly sure, constantly make yourself hard. Why? It's basically going to be further and further troubles and tribulations falling upon you as you're basically moving through this truth.
And then the Lord broke it down and said, look, take on my yoke. It's a light affliction. Right? And Paul, I believe in the same chapter, he goes and says, I consider the things that we suffer now is life. Basically, what we're suffering at this moment in time isn't worth the stands of
Yeah, compared to what we're going to get, it's like nothing. And that's, when you consider it, it's nuts. You're going to be ruling the universe forever. There's no, trying to find something that even weigh against it that makes it a worthwhile reward that don't even exist.
Hey, I even look at that. Right now, all that type of stuff. You should draw, it's not because I think but you should draw like superheroes and things, make comic books and all that type of stuff. And now to find something that is your glory, that's actually, that's in the spirit. You find out, oh shit, man, I'm gonna be like Superman. To be raised up, give him a double life. So we need to never die, never experience no pain. No one else is gonna experience that, only the children of Israel. So man, with that on the table, you have to really do anything that's necessary. You're born.
Yeah. And if children, then heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. And it's not. That's why as well. And this is why it needs to be blunt. Because as far as if you can see what you're going to receive, if you can see the reward, then you can basically see this thing for what it is. It's like they live. He put the yeah.
Not being face.
But it's if you basically are looking at it and all you can see is the carnal now, all you can see is what Esau's lavish parties and lifestyle that he's able to live.
Where's fun and rave
Yeah,
jewelry?
all the Maybach, all these things that now you can look at and just be like, damn, people is rolling, their jaws hitting the ground. Then you're basically going to be you're going to be like, yo, what's how can I can't see anything else, man. What else? You see us on the streets, you're like, no, I'm just going to join these bums, these low lives. But it's going to be the mindset. But that's the thing, is you've been blinded. Because when you have the sight to see, the capability to see it, then you see like, oh, there's great things to come.
Yeah.
Because even if you think like, really, can this be it? And it says as well in Matthew 24, like, unless the days are short, there's no flesh left to be saved. You can see the way that life is lived on this side. Where's the means for this thing to go on? How is this place going to be around in even 50 years? People are now trying to destroy any kind of normal thing. Like you ain't even going to be growing crops no more. You ain't even be eating food. You're going to be lab grown fly burgers and shit burgers and dead body burgers.
You ain't even going to be made in, intestines.
That's the dream. That's the desire. Yeah. So women never have to get pregnant. Like the system there is immaculate. It works flawlessly. Well, as long as the Lord wants it to work, because the Lord can close up the womb and open it up.
Yeah.
But what these things are basically like what the systems the Lord set things up.
That shows you how the Heavenly Father has the ultimate control over them. He's actually designed everything to work. Been used to work. But he can say, nah, that's yours. It's not going to work. Go back to the work.
Yeah.
Everyone's meant to be able to have babies with life, but he can say, nope, you're not going to have babies.
But Hannah has closed the womb up, and when it was opened up, what? All kinds, hella babies, all forms of babies coming out. And that's how the Lord can do it. Because, for example, that is during the Dark Ages, because Jake was being taken out, man. The Lord was basically bringing that to a close. So that's, you deal with a Black Death. You look at the numbers. They say it's like 2/3 of people that were around in Europe were wiped out. So that's a complete and total cultural shift. But that's why it's like, what? Jake don't go into history. They don't know that those dark skin, Jake all around Europe. Okay, let me read on. So it says, verse 19, for the earnest expectation of the preacher waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who have subjected the same and hope. So yeah, the basically the creature was made subject to vanity, or constructed in a means by which we're going to fall short. The capability to be perfected. Hey, we can't do it. Yahushua was the only one. Yahushua was able to overcome the flesh, conquer it, and he died as a lamb without blemish, and it was perfected. So that was done what? So we could basically have it, like I said, we could be joint heirs.
And to give him his own glory as well. That says that the president, the distinction between the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father and the chosen of Israel, or the nation of Israel, that Yahushua has to be worshipped, man. That's why when he went on the crucifix and he went up to the heavens, why heaven roared? They basically gave him glory, man. They worshipped him.
Because the creature itself also shall be delivered. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of the Most High. Yeah, and that's really, we are being held in bondage to sin. Because more or less, that's going to be one of the big flip sides of when we get the perfected body. The same way we're inclined towards sin, inclined towards dying off, in the flesh now, that's going to be flipped to where what? Where we're going to have that perfect inclination towards doing righteousness. The capabilities of evil is not even going to exist. That is what? What? Because, hey, Yahweh Shai got his glory, and then we're also going to be glorified with him. And that's going to be what? Israel is going to be a representation of what? Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You going to get yours?
Let's go back into the time that you mentioned about it's 2 Esdras 4 and 23. For it is not my mind to be curious of high things, but of such as pass by us daily. Namely, wherefore Israel is given up to the reproach to the heathen, and for what fool the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nature. And by the law of our forefathers is brought to naught, and the written covenants come to none effect. Right? And that's like we deal with Ezra, and it's the holy man of the Heavenly Father, a man of high regard. He had a Shiatiel basically come to him and say, look, are you a man, you're a head among the nations? Why is your countenance heavy? Why are you here? You need to come back to the nation and sort them out. And then Ezra said, told him to go basically, like, because, got him to him and then he left. Because he was basically receiving tokens from the Heavenly Father, right, through the angel Uriel. But the point being is that he was a righteous man to inquire as to why the Heavenly Father didn't make good on his word at that time. Whereas you had wicked people within our nation that just said, oh, that ain't happening? Alright, cool, let's go and do what we need to do. It tells you that in the book of Maccabees. And that was a situation that happened on all occasions when Israel fell out of favor with the Most High. When the Most High then turned back on the children of Israel, the wicked of our nation was basically just saying, alright, whatever, man. I'm going over here to get one again. Let me read over verse 24. And we pass away out of this world as grasshoppers, and of our life is astonishment and fear. And we are not worthy to obtain mercy. What will we then do unto his name whereby we are called? Of these things have I asked. Verse 26. Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel. For the world hates it fast to pass away, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in the time to come, for the world is full of unrighteousness and infirmity. So that's it. The word, the angel Uriel, the warrior honor, the light of the Most High broke it down. He said, look, the world hates it to pass away. He said that basically the world is going to go away speedily. And he said, you're going to be an amazement to the things that you stand to obtain. Great things that stand to come. Right? So though it tarry, wait for it, for it shall surely not tarry. It shall come to pass, man. I told you that in the book of Isaiah 13, chapter 1. This shall be as a changed road that no man taketh up. Things are moving quick. And it's moving swiftly. What sign?
Back in 2 Peter 3, it says, but the day the Lord, well, 2 Peter 3 and 10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also, the works that are therein, shall be burned up. Yeah, earth basically is what? The day of the Lord's going to come as a thief. It's really going to be what? It's going to be a shock. It's going to be a surprise, because people, the nations, they're looking for it. I'm on saying, who's looking for it? This is a thing where, since the apostles have been out, you've seen it progressively become clearer and clearer. We're in a time like never before. Time of the end. You go back, it's like you go back 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. you look back and then you're like, it wasn't, bro, it was not even moving the same way. But because it's been at pace, people have not, like, it wasn't just in one, like, it didn't just all happen in one go. They've just kind of been like, no, you know, it's like people are growing up, these things have become normal. It's like before 9/11, you look back at like the music videos, the movies, the culture that was around during like the 90s into the early 2000s. It was blissed off, man. Man were having the time of their lives. That fucking what's his name? When the was it what's the war in Germany? What's it called?
Oh,
Berlin Wall. When the Berlin Wall went down, what's his fucking name, man? Thingy, David Hasselhoff, man, singing as the wall went down. Because why? People are like, oh yes, the end of the Cold War. It means basically, you know, the whole world's gonna be at peace. Little did they know. they were blissed off. People were thinking like, yo, everything's come to an end now. World peace can begin. But hey, that's why they didn't have the understanding, because they really thought like, oh, everything's gonna be good.
even like now, the whole thing with Russia and Ukraine, people really don't comprehend what's actually going on. And really, hopefully, it's prophecy, man. The testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy, alright? And Yahushua's spirit, it tells you that the Heavenly Father is not the spirit of the dead, but the spirit of the living. Yahushua ain't dead, man. And those prophecies ain't come to pass, so his spirit is still out there. So when you open the book, right into the book of Revelation, the 8th chapter, it tells you the angels woe in the heavens. Those 3 woes represent 3 world wars, not 2, 3. Right? So they don't understand that we're in the midst of the end. Right? There's prophecies that need to play out. It may seem like a tarrying and them happening, but then they stand to come to pass. They're the ones. And what you're seeing right now is you're seeing labor pains, birth pains happening with Russia and the Ukraine. Right? There may be a skirmish down there, something may happen, but it's not going to be nuclear, you know, I forgot they got a time frame where it's like total
Mutually assured destruction.
yeah, mutually assured. It's not that level yet. There's other projects that need to play out before that can be established on the earth. Right?
Yeah, but there can be skirmishes.
That's it.
You know, there can be conflicts. That's the thing. It says there'll be wars and rumors of wars. It says, see you've been in trouble, but these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. That's the thing. It's what? That time of trouble, the hour of temptation.
And you see a lot of people, media outlets or individuals that have hot takes on what's going on. And there's one girl, a mum car come past the camera in Oxford, if you remember. Because the mom was like, I know you. You're Fees, mum. You be going to Masonic lodges and all that type of stuff. Because I follow the girl, some cute looking gay girl. Yeah, fuck. I actually met her one time. But that's another story. Basically, she was saying her hot take was like, but it's like, they don't understand this to do with the Northern as well. Like, this is resources, well, prophecy only, but they're not realizing that, look, you know, this ain't profitable for they want to EU because they receive the energy. This, if you really sit down, you know, I mentioned this last week, I'm sure, on paper, it kind of doesn't make sense for them to do what they do at the same time. It makes more sense. I mean, you know, the systematically what they embrace on this side of the world, I guess it makes sense for them to align with the ground. When it comes to energy and resources, it doesn't make sense. Right? And really it's just the prophecy of Revelation comes to pass where every Father said he put them in agreement until the time of the end. The time of destruction. Where they're going to hate the whore and then send over their missiles.
You read this, Obadiah 1 and 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. No, it's just because I remember off the point, like two guys before us, and those smoke, those strolling
Oh,
down the
no,
street,
I can smell it
smoking
from
weed.
far.
I smell it from far, and I was like, I bet they haven't confirmed it. I was like, bro, that's like them guys have no consideration of getting in any form of trouble for that.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, these men are east. But that's
Yeah.
a legendary about east. So you're walking down just in central London, smoke sharing a zoo, and there's like fucking cops walking around. I'm like, bro, it's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
But it just shows how these men are disconnected.
I think the most you can get is a caution.
Yeah, they'll
Never
just take it.
personal use.
Yeah, they'll just take it. That's it.
That's about. Listen, for real, man.
But that's why I was just thinking, I was like, yeah, that's different. Because I know it's, well, I don't know how much medicinal is available. Obviously, it's not fucking that.
If it's in a zoo, it's one in a zoo.
Yeah,
It's personal use.
yeah.
Even if you had an ounce in you,
So say like, I think
so
it's
you could have like a kilo on you. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but if it's in one bag, say person, I'm taking it home, put it in my house. Do it now, I'm taking it home. Transport, just have it in the office somewhere, like it's somewhere where I grow it, and take it back to my house for personal use.
it's funny as hell.
But it's true, because they're all deep.
Because I'm like, them man are really east. But that's no one said considering the end is coming. As far as for them, it's like, bro, they're just like, oh, things are gonna continue as they were. It's like, bro, it's like I'm like, when all the Germanic tribes were putting the smackdown on Rome, them it was like, bro, them men were just like, oh well, it's Rome. We're just gonna be able to, just gonna be able to
around
deal
it,
with
yeah.
But then it's like when the army was gone, man just strolled in, took the thing, was done. Yeah.
We even had Canada, man. Them lot got their crypto confiscated. Like, them guys just said, yeah, we're taking your crypto.
And it was like, bro, man took like 10 mil of donations before as well. Like, GoFundMe.
I wasn't sure about that.
They said GoFundMe just said, oh no, we're not giving the money to it. I'm like, bro, they said we're just gonna donate it to something else. I'm like, bro,
Wait, what happened? I don't know.
It was like they had a GoFundMe for the trucker guys when they first started.
Oh,
And then it went up to 10 mil. It was like just under 10 mil, just over 10 mil, whatever. And then GoFundMe stopped it and then said, like, okay, we're not giving them the money. We're gonna donate it to something. I'm like, bro, that sounds criminal.
yeah.
How am I just gonna how are you gonna donate 10 mil to a cause? Then they're just gonna be like, no, actually, no, we're not gonna give it to that cause. We're gonna give it something else. That don't make no fucking sense.
So you had them, they basically confiscated people. Was there anything behind the money? They did it generally. I checked out properly.
I only knew about the GoFundMe because they went to a different platform where they meant to give them money. And that's got a couple mil on it. But now they're trying to make it where it's like legally they're not able to get those things. But that's how rigged the system is. All these, and it's funny as well, that's where it's like the majority of like all these marketplaces and like crypto wallets and whatnot. It's like from when you use like Coinbase or whatever, or you've connected your credit card or whatever, a certain wallet to your account on a market. It's like, bro, you're out, like they already know who you are. They'll just put the freeze, Mr. Freeze on the 14th zone.
Legally, they might be funny because I had this conversation with my group chat. Hey, legally, they might not be able to do it now, but all they got to do is write it into law. That's a wrap, man.
Yeah,
because the executive order that was made for them to basically seize those black crypto. I don't know the specifics of it as to why it was done. You can look it up in the article. But basically, hey, that shows you what time we're in.
They can flip the regulation. The thing is, there's no regulation. It's the order of chaos. They're letting it run rampant, and that's why they're saying the thing is you've had China pushing for their crypto one. So since China's been pushing for that, they're basically like the US is now pressured to do it. Europe's now pressured to do it as well. So then you're gonna have it develop, and then once they get their kind of baseline for it, they might utilize certain technologies that are out there already, certain coins, certain backends. But then it's all the regulation is going to come in. The control over it is going to be complete. Let me read on a bit more Obadiah. Obadiah 1 and 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread, the womb under thee, there is none understanding in it. Yeah. So all those that are at peace, they're the ones that are going to flip on this, this grand American system. It's the Lord's basically going to have the spirit put on these men. It's like the brother mentioned. As far as for them, there's no profit in it right now. It's not a good look. It's not going to be. It's going to be good in the long term. So for them, it's they're not really looking to do it. But this is down to the spirit. Because as far as when it comes to what the destruction, the four winds, you have the angels holding it back. These things are being held back. That's why it's like just like how the Lord basically has the angels go down to mess with the minds of the leaders. That's something that the Lord can do. Just like with Saul. Saul is a spectacular example. Because Saul had the spirit, as soon as the spirit was taken off, had what? An evil spirit put on him. He was bugged out. And that's the thing, so the Lord can play with it. Then it was what? Through David playing the harp. That was how it gets to jump up.
Funny, there's an harp one up there, one of the brothers, and it's the power of the sound hill, and the power of the sound hill, or the sound has healing powers. So it's like, hey, it's funny because he saw the dust, looks in the Bible, and he's trying to experiment with the truth.
Because that's the thing, he wants it in a means where he can control it, make it and stuff. Because they've had, it's like with sound anyway, they've had for a time ago, so I knew that was when I was in uni, like about using sound to kind of emulate feeling like you're high or something like that, or to get your mind in certain states.
Yeah.
And I think that probably goes back to like MK Ultra kind of, them kind of research programs then, where they kind of find frequencies and sound waves to basically, affect people in certain ways.
But that's even why lo-fi is kind of funny, because lo-fi music come very trendy. That shit's fucking balmy, man. Because I'm into that type of, because I used to make music, produce, make beats. So I'm into that. I used to like to make beats just to listen to other people's beats and whatnot. And now it's actually a thing where people just go lo-fi playlist to study.
Yeah.
That shit kind of fun. It's kind of fucking weird, to be honest.
But it's like SoundCloud. SoundCloud just blew up.
Yeah.
It's more or less like that's how it's like SoundCloud rappers as well. Man started getting deals. It's like beats and whatnot. That's become its own market. Even Spotify, you can get people telling you, you can work with someone put on Spotify as well, she had a little career she was doing. But hey, it's funny as hell. You got something else or? But yeah, all these, this time we're in the midst of, it's a time where prophecy is being fulfilled, it's a time where it's being made clear, hey, the Lord's getting ready to visit this place. That's why more or less everything is kind of opening up, even with like Havana syndrome, these different things. All these things that we saw done in the dark, these things are now coming to light. When it comes to what? Make bare the leg, lift up the skirt, basically being revealed, all the things that are being done in the dark, and because people are putting such a stupefied state, they're more or less just willing to accept and roll with anything.
Yeah, so it's from MSN. I can't see the headline, but it basically targeting attack. Henry Hill. But let me just read the article anyway. So it says, in 2015, a Grammy-nominated music producer, songwriter, and rapper, Major 33 was living every artist's dream. The musician born Brandon Green in Detroit had started making music as a teenager, but his mid-20s had appeared on. By his mid-20s, he had appeared on or produced tracks by Drake, Iggy Azalea, and Justin Bieber, and broke the top 20 in 2013, Major Ali, with his single Lolly. The following year, let me jump down. I'll start from there. It says, carry on. It says, the following year, he started experiencing what he called excruciating pain in his arms and legs at night. As it got worse, a doctor gave him a blood test and sent him to an oncologist who told Major that he had leukemia. Battling fear, grief, and depression while undergoing chemotherapy, he self-medicated with drugs, sought professional therapists, and went on ayahuasca retreat at the foot of Mount Shasta. None proved effective in fighting his feelings hopeless. Then Major started getting introduced to different spiritual communities. He says via video call, I started hearing about how people use sound. After profound experiences during yoga and meditation sessions, he began researching the mechanics of music and the underlying theories connecting the frequencies of specific notes and wellness. He was intrigued, burrowing down an internet rabbit hole. Major was struck by a debate that had seeped onto YouTube, referring to the musical note of A. Major explains that the past 8 years, the standard tuning music has been A equals 450 Hz. Such a crucial determination is just not questioned, not even really deviated from. It's believed tuning A to a slightly lower 432 Hz and adjust the scales to calculate to change sounds and feel better for the brighter 440 Hz. Major compares this epiphany on his new podcast, right? It says Major Freak, he said, when let out of a huge sigh of your body and your body floods with serotonin, and you realize you've arrived at the place that you belong to all along. Let me see. So it says, for the Los Angeles-based Major and millions others meditating to or creating so-called frequency music, and it's what I kind of think the lo-fi is about. I think that's even like another kind of, covert kind of operation. In a sense. I don't know, because a lot of people utilize it in a meditative way. So reading on, it says on YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok, the frequency of 432 Hz, though, is more aligned with nature's patterns, and I believe that's the right frequency. When you see with water, you set something at that frequency, the water patterns are more harmonious, as opposed to all the other frequencies. The industry standard of music basically is more destructive for the body. And we know the body's makeup is about 70% water. So having 70% of the water It has the vibrations and frequency have a great effect on the body. That's why when you have the moon in its fullness, it can make people lunatic because of the moon of the frequencies of the moon.
Affects the tide as well. Which is
That's what I'm saying. Prolong listening to these 432 hertz tones calm various believers. Reduces stress, detoxifies cells and organs, eliminates fear and wipes out negativity. Some advocates of a different hit-based system argue that this particular control repairs DNA and brings positive transformation, and other frequencies are said to bring love and compassion and allow the true to connect to a higher self. So I mean, that's the point.
Yeah, that's kind of leaning into well, we're going to be doing it for the left-hand side because they're basically leaning to the left-hand side. As far as it's like when getting to meditating and getting into these so-called spirituality, we always lean into the left-hand side because that's how. Hey, well, that's how it operates now, man. Everything's moving through the left-hand side. It's more or less going to be, they'll be able to harness things. So it's like through what means. And that's, but, these things are known. And that's the thing, it's like the elites will be utilizing these things without, the regular person, regular Joe, learn what's going on. That's how it is with a lot of these things. You go to the scriptures, it's like you can pull these things out, but then it's like what? As far as people in the world, until they see like until they see a headline in the newspaper saying studies show or research is found
or great even scientific breakthrough. Cancer is caused by sound waves. Someone come on the news and say, yes, we found a new study, we killed 99.9% from their cancer, from the cancer. What they need to go into is sound waves, where we, let vibrations bring out for elongated periods of time. And then we find after people do a session, multiple sessions throughout a course of 6 weeks, they're now healed and free of any infirmity. Then everyone be jumping. But when we say, man, we're regarded as the poor, righteous man. No one regards the words that we say. They frown upon it.
Correct. Like in 2 Peter 3, it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. That's a thing. Like it says, coming like a thief. That's going to be taken, people are going to be taken by surprise. Even people that call themselves Israelites as well. Let me read this, Matthew 25:1. It says, then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all these virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps have gone out. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them and sell and buy for yourselves. A while they went to buy it, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. After came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. And he said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. Yeah, that oil. That's truth, man. Holding on to that oil, the truth is like an oil. And it's really through that that lubrication. That's how part of how you're quickened, man. Because what's cool, as far as you got a lot of people that are moving with no oil, man. They're basically just mannequins, man. They're looking like Pinocchio out there. That's where it is. Hey, it's going to be cold as hell. It's really going to be found. They're going to be found by the oil. And that's the thing is that when events start intensifying, that's when it's going to be felt. Because as far as for now, people can still you can shut yourselves in a room. You can deny reality, and all the delivery, all your Uber Eats, your groceries to yourself. Netflix is new seasons coming out of who knows what. You can bliss yourself off, enjoy life to the max. But then what? It's as far as it's gonna come to the point where hey,
can't be avoided.
bridegroom's gonna be back.
And that's the oil was said about trimming the lamps. I was thinking about, he's talking about old lamps. Funny, we showed about Abe. I know you remember it. In school when you had to trim, remember the old lamps? You actually had to do, I remember in school they told us about it. In my mind I'm thinking like, how the fuck we learning about this shit? It's old school shit. But obviously we're more close to that generation.
Still with me.
Early 90s basically. So it's like you'd have the bottle, the lamp, and they'd have the wick. They'd have to trim the wick and put it inside. But after you put an oil obviously, and you light it, the light would keep going basically. As long as there's fuel for it. Whereas if you had the fullest version that they had no oil, they could light their, they could trim their lamp and light it. But the oil, having no oil, it wouldn't keep the lamp alight, right? Basically run out of steam at some point. Now to that point, Apostle Bar meant brought out about the word trimming. When you talk about having all the trimmings. And it's funny because I was thinking about that more recently, because it's close to Christmas time. But that's like a very, even if you look it up, the origin of that term is like, I believe it's a French origin. Because that's a normal thing. Yeah. Having a fucking
Sunday roast
with all the trimmings. And Sunday roast is a real big deal over there.
It's a fucking humongous deal.
Even we used to have Sunday roast. That shit was back when way in the fun. Have steamed pudding with bloody roast chicken and fucking all the trimmings.
Potatoes, parsnips, carrots, beets, all that.
So that term, all the trimmings, that's the as the possible Rob broke it down, you can even put it down to the nuance. That's part of it as well. The different intricate moving parts that make everything function together, man. So when you go into the word, you find out more trimmings. They did, even upon that, they can't even trim their lamp, man. They can light it, but they can't even trim it, man. Because to have the trim, you need the oil to be able to have the trimming.
It's preparation.
Yeah.
Because as far as that's why you need to see it as something that's going to happen. If you're basically dealing with, it's just like there's people that don't stumble upon a video and they'll just kind of watch it. They might have entertainment. They might regard it as it's waffle. But then what? It's if you that's the thing. Is things are gonna start happening to where, especially it's like there's men in the world that have told about this thing. As things start to occur towards it, that's the funny thing. There's a lot of them. It's completely gone in one ear out the other.
Yeah.
Where because especially when it comes to the mark, the correct mark, they're just like in complete compliance. They've got no kind of regard for it. They're not really looking at it like, okay, yeah, we're gonna have to, I'm wary of it. They're just looking at it like, yeah, this is gonna be great. Because why? They're in the world. They're not, as far as we said, it's not real to them. They can't see it going to any kind of point. Even with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, they're not really looking at it like, okay, it's gonna be so far away. Until it's on the doorstep, it ain't really gonna be real. Even then, they're gonna deny it. 2 Peter 3:11. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, where the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Yeah, that's what the holy conversation meant to be about this place coming to an end. And that's really all that brothers meditate on. You're looking through the news, seeing all kinds of things going down, lining up with the scriptures. You're looking at what's happening, just being like showing how all the complete and total moral decay within this place, man. Everything is like, even with the mindset of the people, we reasoned before. It's like with like social media especially, you've had ways it's kind of made people affected the way people think about and talk about certain things, to where it's like it's centralized everyone's views. They're more or less like, there's certain things where it's like if you mention it, then you're kind of done. A good example is what the hell's her name? Fucking sister actor. What's her name?
Oh, Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg, man. She said something about. She mentioned about something about
the Jews, between the so-called Jews and the Nazis. And she basically said that that was more of like, it wasn't a racial thing, it was more of a
I can't remember what she said. Well, I watched it. But she said it was what? She said it was a racial, she said it was like, one group of white people against another group of white people.
Yeah.
Which she's not wrong, but it's like, that's the thing. It's like with what do you call it? With like her view is very American, as far as for them, only racism exists as black versus white.
Yeah.
Because that's like just that's how the mindset, and that's something that the media is basically perpetuated, to where it's like, black v white kind of thing. But obviously, you go into the history, it's like there's been various racial conflicts that weren't just a matter of skin color. But that's why it's like, it's really not even racism in America. It's like, it's colorism. It's just like they made it into a white and black thing. But that's why it's like, technically it's not wrong, but it's like with how you mentioned something about certain groups, and then the response you're gonna get is gonna be and that's really what is being revealed with that. But that's why it's like these things, like, there's certain things you can't talk about. It's like even Wiley as well. Still, it's like Wiley. That guy is like, he loses his OBE or whatever it was. I wasn't saying that. Well, I'm not sure. Because he was it. But I think I was saying he should be.
He's the one again. He said, take it. He said, all right, go anyway. I think he moves quick. I watched an interview with DJ Vlad. That black guy, he's a so-called Jew as well. And who he asked about is just criminality. I'm like, fucking hell. Like, asking about the music. He's asking, like, he told him like how many times he got poked up. He said he got poked up like twice for multiple occasions. And then, he's talking about different things like that. But the point is like, no, the lines of race are, it goes beyond color. Definitely goes beyond color.
Yeah, because as far as so many people with Israelites, it's like foreigners, man. That's the thing. It's like Jake in America. They've been their mind's been fried, man. They really can't see it. That's why it's like for them to accept. Even that's the thing. Even Ephraim. Imagine, and that's something that goes back. They were like, even for Ephraim, they were like, oh, those fucking those goddamn wet bents. I'm like, bro, like,
That's what's up.
yeah, I probably remember. But yeah, that's a part of the main one. But they'll have beef, even though it's like they'll be in a hood together, they'll be vibing just cause. That's like I'm like, bro, it makes no fucking sense. But that's why it's like all this, and especially with this situation anyway, is building up racial tensions. Because that's something they've been maintaining for the longest. That racial tension is part of what keeps people in a certain mindset, and it's a distraction. These are things that that's why it's like what all these police shootings. I'm like, bro, a lot of these police shootings, I'm like, there's some grimy nigger bastards, man. Like they did all kinds of fucked up shit. Remember there was one where there was like the guy was meant to have had a history of like abusing kids or some shit, and then they'll say like, oh, you know, this is terrible that happened to him and blah. I'm like, bro, what the? I'm like, because they've made it just a thing where it's like any black person that gets poked, gets done out by a cop, you're meant to be crying. But it's like, I remember Apostle Todd did the video about the two young black girls are like 14 and 15 that hijacked the car and then fucking drove the car and crashed it and killed the guy that was in there. Like some old ass Arabian geezer. And then I was like, bro, I was like, fuck these guys, man. That's the thing. It's, as far as for Jake, you got a huge contingent. They're beyond recovery, man. They're gone. They're expiring, man. That gift of the fucking monkey with the troops in the snow. So it's like, that's where Jake is at, man. They're done, man. There's no saving them. So it says, looking for and hasten to the 2 Peter 3 and 10, looking for and hasten unto the coming day of the Lord, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. That's really what we're looking for. We're looking for that new heavens, that new earth. Because as far as for this one, it's like bro, when it's before, it's like this thing's been abused beyond the course, man. It really needs a cleansing, needs a reset. Esau's, he set up his wicked agenda, the Great Reset, talking about okay, now's the time for us to retake, the earth, to maximize sustainability. You own nothing and you'll love it. Yeah, and that's the mindset they're trying to basically get in what they desire. But the true Great Reset is what? Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is going to do. It's going to be the end of this age, man. That second death. Because whatever Esau's trying to do is, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, is going to go above and beyond it, and then put all Esau's desires, all these vain attempts at what he's going to do. That's all going to be done away with, man. They ain't going to have no weight. And
that's what Esau don't understand. Esau don't understand that your head one sole purpose. The devil, man. You're serving you. This is your time to shine. Once that's why the world is in such a fucked up state of affairs, because the Heavenly Father let you loose. In accordance with the prophecy of Revelation 20th chapter. Alright? Being bound for a certain season, and then we will be loose. So now the time, you'll be loose for this little season to do your thing. Well, hey, you got certain things you need to play out, you need to be that ultimate devil. Right? You need to, that our temptation needs to take place. Time of take trouble. But then after that, man, when you serve your purpose, it's a wrap. You're gonna serve your sentence of you gotta serve your time, your sentence basically. Alright. serve your sentence. Then after that, man, you're gonna be thrown into a pit and burned, man. You're never gonna be upon the earth no more. No more Edomites. You won't be found. Right? With the present state of affairs, the present time we're in, it's your time, man. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You're here to oppress the righteous. And that's it, man. You're made to be the devil.
That's your job. Isaiah 24:1. Behold, the Lord Jehovah maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury too. So that's going to be what? From the top to the bottom. And that's how it happened. Well, I'm going to read this. Back in Egypt, Exodus 11:4. Well, something verse 11:4, yeah. And Moses said, thus saith the Lord Jehovah, about midnight will I go into the midst of Egypt, and all of the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die. For the firstborn of Pharaoh, no, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of the beasts. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it anymore. So back in Egypt, what? You had the firstborn of everyone, even among the beasts, wiped out, man. They were done out, man. That could have been the newly born lamb, first lamb, walking out with a meh. done away with, man. Yeah. For the pre-born preference. That's done. And that's how the Lord got down. It was done. You know, the word Esau would use. It was egalitarian. Fucking these guys love these words, man. Words for days, man. Fucking ego. It was like, you know, everyone. I'm like, man, shut the fuck. Everyone was phone. It was phone. It was phone. All levels. Everyone from the lowly slave up to Pharaoh at the top. And that's how the Lord says to get down. And that's how it's going to be as well. As with, it says, well, as with everyone. So Isaiah 24:3, it says, the land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled, for the Lord Jehovah hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people, earth, do languish. So yeah, it's everyone all among them. Because that's the thing, it's like, even now, bro, it's like a fucking beggar's gonna be proud. You tell a beggar, it's like, he'll be like, I've got a pan. I'm like, bro, you be like, nah, but I can get you a meal or something if you want. And you're like, bro, he's gonna be looking at you like, fuck you, bro. And then he's gonna stomp off. You ain't thinking about no fucking food. He's thinking about a pound. But that's how peak it is. That's how much it's got. I'm like, imagine you're trying to help someone else. The guy's just like, ugh. They're trying to spit on your fucking arm, bro. But that's why it's what everything is basically languishing. Everything is decreasing and decaying, including the bee. I'm like, bro, it's like, how you got to imagine Edomites are out there in the Midwest tweaking, they're skanking in front of windows on fucking crystal meth. Like, they're done it, bro. You see some of the videos, they're through. I'm like, yo, this is Esau. That's meant to be the home of the brave, the land of the free, man. You're meant to be out there living life to the fullest. Like, you meant to, where's the white picket fence? Where's the golden retriever? Where's the fucking the Cadillac in the front, like in your driveway, man? They ain't got shit. They're through, because all them things are done. It says, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Yeah, they basically flipped everything from how the Lord had it structured and ordered to where it was what you had. You had order, you had things basically set up in a certain way. Because why? That's the best way to maintain balance on earth and order. That's the thing that Esau has a passionate hatred for, man. Balance and order. Because everything he's done has basically been tipping that into the abyss. For you to basically be like, you've got a man that's molded for an express purpose. You've got a woman that's molded for an express purpose. For you to be flipping and playing with that, that's you don't know what the hell's going on. Well, really, Esau knows it's confusion. But what? That's what he desires. Because as far as it's like, when you have the baseline of men and women coming together, that's meant to be build up society from there. Women are meant to know what they're meant to be dealing with, their household, the kids and whatnot. The men are meant to be what? The breadwinners, they're out there working, being the head, being the leader. But that's why Esau's what? He flipped it to where now everyone's like, oh, well, I kind of want to, man's like, well, I want to try being in a dress.
Oh, I just saw this morning. You had one gamer. He came out, I saw an article. Gamer came out and said, yeah, since everyone's in there, I want to make an announcement. Said, I'm now identifying as a trans black African American.
Oh, yeah, I think I heard about that shit. That shit was funny as hell. I was like, right. I was like, that's
I really,
I
and he
remember
lost his sponsorships and everything like that.
I'm not surprised.
Facebook dropped him, blocked his site. Basically, he's
Done.
done.
Yeah,
But the reality, that shows what he did is he put the mirror to the face of the people that are saying all this shit,
stupidity.
man. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, it's like someone mentioned it, I mentioned ages ago. Because they did, I think they spoke about on The View or something. Like one of them women's talking shows in America was a bunch of black women. That wasn't The View, it was the one with the fucking sister on there, man. Tamira, I don't know which one it is. But The Real, that's what it's called, The Real, yeah. Like they were talking about it, and they was like, oh yeah, it's like it's fine for women, but it's like no, you can't be black though, because then it's like the same arguments they're making, the same arguments people make against trans women. So it's like you've highlighted the sheer confusion, the sheer confusion, because you had a white guy that basically got plastic surgery to look like one of them Korean K-pop stars. And then he said, oh, I'm now Korean. And that was the whole thing. That guy he's obviously bugged the fuck out. Because that man got legendary amount of surgeries. And they said, yeah, I'm Korean now. And it was like, he was speaking English in Korea out there. It was funny as hell. He was saying like, yeah, I'm Korean. I was like, bruh. I was like, this guy, he's doing it. He's not even making a joke. He's just bugged out. But that's highlighting like how mad it is. Because really, it's like, that's what it's like. You see a guy with a beard and wearing a dress, and you're meant to be like, hey there, young lady. Like,
I was in a spot where you had a guy wearing this happens all around, he's doing a chili somewhere. And you just look up and you see there was a guy basically wearing what's it called? Like a food shoe. I don't know what it's called. But like a crop top sign like that. And he's hairy. So you had some odd looks like, what the fuck are you wearing? And I was thinking like, you look like someone that would have been the people that were up my head. The people that look like they'll be wondering what he's doing, what discussing like. They look at each other and discuss behind his back, but it's what it is. That's how it is. That's really it. This is what it's come down to. It's like basically you have to, you're looking at reality, and
and then you have to be like, okay, I'm gonna put that to the side. I'm now gonna completely ignore that, and then I'm gonna deal with you know what they're presenting. I'd be like, yeah. Oh yeah, hello, miss. You know, whatever. It's Hank Johnson. But that, yeah, that's just like it's all backwards, man. Everything's been flipped. So this is what the earth also is defiled under Isaiah 24:5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Happens, yeah, fucking say that. The inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Yes, it's basically going to result in that mass destruction going down with what you call it? World War III, man, Third War. That is what's going to be. Hey, through there's going to be all form of madness going down during our temptation. But I'm not. That Third World War it's going to get spicy, man. It's going to get tasty. There's going to be all kind of fuckery going down. And that's the thing. People are really. It's really been a season since there's been that kind of mass scale war, like you know, like Vietnam, or like you know, world wars. So people are really disconnected. They're thinking like, as far as they see it, it's like Iraq and the Afghanistan wars. Man, we're just over there bullying, you know, some sand niggas and shit. That's what they really saw it as. But it's gonna be what? Like these things are gonna be brought into remembrance. It's gonna be at the forefront. People ain't gonna be able to escape. That's really what it is. It's like I said, it's gonna be something that touches all layers of society. It says the mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the joy of them that rejoiceth endeth, the joy of the heart ceaseth. Oh yeah, all that bliss, man. Them concert halls, them all that being able to go out, see a play, you know, go to an art gallery, go to an ice rink, you know, take a cruise along the Thames. Those things are gonna be done, man. It's gonna be all that's gonna be taking a cruise on the bodies, man. More bodies than usual. It says, they shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, and no man may come in. And that's it, the city of confusion as well. That's really what America is. America is that city of confusion. It's basically broadcasting mass amounts of confusion onto the people in the world, man. They're being completely confounded and confuddled by what America's really pushing out as the leading culture of the world. Everyone's emulating, everyone's following after. And this is the thing, it's for the elites. They're doing it because they're looking to cut that shit short. They're just trying to have madness propagate for a little season. They're not looking to have that as an end goal. Their end goal is like, you see it. They have in these what's the word? Dystopian future. That's the one. Where they basically managed to distill through technology, through, you know, having basically control over certain things. It always comes to, they're always trying to engineer science so they can decide, okay, who has birth, who gives birth, what kind of, they're trying to have like different caste systems where it's like, okay, you guys are going to stay on this level. You're basically going to be like, okay, you're going to be the farmers and the miners. You know, you're going to be the...
What's that? Jennifer Lawrence?
Oh, yeah.
There's
Hunger
another one
Games.
as well.
There's Hunger Games, there's Divergent as well.
Divergent,
Like those
yeah.
kind of young...
Divergent.
We had that season where it was like all the young adult kind of movies and books were going into that like dystopian future where it was, you know, a government basically taken over. You know, that was century up.
That's how you know. That's how you know they were doing it by the time. You know, a lot of people are basically robbed with that. Like you say with Harry Potter, we have a lot of people.
Yeah, we're going into witchcraft, all that. Yeah, it's Harry Potter. the Harry Potter. To this day, they have the what's it called? The Universal Studios, I believe it is, where they have like sets and stuff. People go to. Then even like King's Cross, they have the platform 9 and 3/4.
I used to work by there.
You got something to do with
Yeah, I was gonna say I used to work over by there. So you know, people come in and be like, "Oh yeah, do you know where Harry Potter is?" I was like, "Alright, you're on the wrong station. Go across the road or something."
Yeah, and you see it's like those queues. I remember when I was working there, like summertime as well, like in the market.
Yeah.
There was queues like all day long just for like the platform to take the picture of like the halfway through the
I need to go on your Instagram.
Yeah.
You need to come to here.
Yeah. Anyone who goes, that's like a key part. But that's why it's like those things have become. Because I remember it's like Harry Potter, the first book, I had it read to me when I was in like what, year 3, which is how fucking old, I don't even know. 7 or 6. But yeah, it was like that had a teacher, yeah. Because I remember the teachers had it like we should read a little bit of like the last hour of every class and then read through the whole thing.
That's fucking bullshit. No wonder you like that book. That's one.
I wanted to listen to that first one. I was like,
you never go into it.
Yeah. But it was
I would before time.
Yeah. It was like once the generation came in, it was non-stop. Because it's even like, their people said they bought it and their parents bought it. Because I was talking to one guy, he said like his mum used to go and buy like 3 copies, one for him, one for his sister, one for his mum to read, and then we'll read it and talk about it. It's like, it was legit, like it would sell out, I remember.
Yeah,
you would buy it, it would sell out. That's why it's like,
actually it is that old, because the thing is new. I remember when they finally said they were going to do the movie.
Christ.
They said they were looking for someone.
Oh yeah. They were looking for people. Yeah. Even the casting calls as well. That was a big thing. Because more or less they got actual kids, like 11-year-olds and shit, to do it. That's why it's like a lot of people were. It was one of the cultures like Matrix, a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Because like the first Matrix film, it's like everyone was wearing fucking black trench coats and boots. Everyone was it, bro. Rage Against the Machine, yeah. Bullet time. Every playground was just bare kids doing bullet time. And every movie afterwards had fucking bullet time and all that shit.
And they had the blue wash as well.
Yeah, bro. It's like it's one of those things that is on that big of a scale. And that's why it's like witchcraft now. It blew up hella. I remember it was like the first witch I knew was one girl in school. It was in my school year. She used to get bullied for that shit. So she was like one guy I know used to bully her so much. She said she was casting spells on this guy all the time, writing his name in a book, all that shit. It was funny as hell though. But that's why now it's like they'll probably have a fucking school group where they'll be like, okay, they might just go in the woods and do certain things.
No one would dare say that.
Yeah. They'll promote it, they'll get funded. They'll make it a school trip. Because that's the thing as well, it's like you have
go down to Dorset or something like that.
Yeah, you have kind of sticks. These motherfuckers get up all sorts of nonsense, man. You guys are trying to be druids.
Yeah, my YouTube page, I was watching videos on YouTube, they just went to that. It was late at night, I woke up during the night and I was just watching the video. They're playing, I thought it was an advert at first. I was like, what is this shit playing? And I'm talking about the house the Wiccan guy built, and all the type of shit. I said, I don't want to hear about this shit. It's 3 in the fucking morning.
Yeah, you need your mind in a certain zone to kind of engage with that. Because that's why it's like you need
I was
to
like, listen, I'm not here for that right now. But it showed you how people, they were talking about how it recently exploded. I just took it as a spirit. I took some stuff from it. I'm saying how it recently exploded. One's taken to it.
So Isaiah 24 and 11 says there's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And if you know anything about Western lands, Western lands, Western these are the lands of mirth. People come over here for bliss and mirth. That's the objective. That's the goal. They come here to make money, to have a real fucking good time. So for mirth to be departed, that's shocking. That's what no one wants. That's why during the lockdown, people are losing their minds.
People will go back to their home country.
They're like, fuck.
That's why they're here.
And I'll go to Venezuela and eat dirt and be able to at least have a good time. I said, fucking sit in a room, pay absurd rent, and fucking do nothing, watch Netflix all day. These men watch Netflix till there's nothing left. All the shit was being suggested and they didn't want to watch. It's actually hilarious, man. It's like, bro, people in the world, they're like,
no, I realised because
on like the IV of some form of entertainment, bro.
I see the waves on social media. I'll be like, Instagram will start showing for me. But like, oh, this must have just happened in the show. And then I realised, and that's where they kind of now, Esau has more control over the people. Because everyone watch show on Netflix, binge watch it because it just came out. Because in the cultural yeah. And then people will either go back to like the King's Kingdom right now. Like, that's, like, people keep talking about it. I ain't seen it, but I've more or less got a gist of it. It's like views and it's like, you have to watch it now, otherwise
you're not gonna, it's like, it's not everyone. It's like when the Marvel TV series come out, so anytime an episode comes out, you're seeing a bunch of memes from it, seeing everyone talking about theories about this. That's how it is. Like even with the movies, it's like that. But that's why what? It's everyone with the information age. These things have basically become more centralized. It's funny because they say with the information age, like going back to the early internet, was like more information than ever to be at fingertips. That's why it's like what Ask Jeeves, where with Ask Jeeves, it was meant to be like, yeah, any question you have, anything. Even the old Google, they used to do advertising based on, information. Now it's about convenience, like Google Maps or whatever. It's basically them being like, oh, you want to find some way to distract yourself, we're going to facilitate that.
Yeah.
And that's really what, like, how all these things have moved to. It's basically about keeping people's minds occupied. They're trying to get as much time from people to turn that into money through advertising, through promotions, all these different things. So it says, it's in verse 12, in the city is left desolation, the gate is smitten with destruction. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be shaken as olive trees, as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of the Lord Yahweh. They shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore glorify ye the Lord Yahweh in the fires, even the name of the Lord Yahweh, power of Israel in the isles of the sea.
How are we going to glorify the name of the Lord in the fire? By being scarcely saved. When the missile of destruction comes, it will look like we're not going to be saved, we're taken up. And we will behold, receive, lost in the fathership. We basically look down and Psalm 91 about 1,000 shall fall on our left side and 10,000 on your right. Basically be able to see the destruction, looking down and being praising the Heavenly Father that we were scared to save, man. You imagine going from being on the earth, seeing the thermonuclear destruction about to happen, and then you just get zipped straight up into the heavens in a tractor beam. You imagine being in the tractor beam looking down and the earth just, there's a word that really puts it. You know when it's like everything just zooms out basically. You just see the earth beneath you. Kind of like, when you have a scene, like bird's view perspective and it zooms in on something, but then you have the reverse of that, zooming out of everything just quickly, and then you just stop abruptly, and you're in a whole different body, kind of feel like weightlessness, changing, like so much in such a moment. And then you just The moment you arrive there, man, you're gonna be flooded with emotion.
From the uttermost part of the earth we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers dealt treacherously. Yea, the treacherous dealers dealt very treacherously. Fear and the pit of snare were upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. But it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage.
Yeah, so that's what the force of the nuclear destruction is going to make. That's the way the earth is going to be earthquakes and earthquakes. Abruptly roll, down. You know that? And see the smoke off in the distance. It's all like we had during the time of we had the eruption of Iceland. Remember that?
Yeah.
No one could fly. And you could see the change of cloud, colour of the sky. It's gonna have that similar effect.
And earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it. And it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Jehovah shall punish the host of the high ones that were on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when the Lord Jehovah of hosts shall reign in
Yeah,
Mount
when
Zion.
it talks about the sun, the moon being confounded, that's an allegory in biblical terms for what wisdom and knowledge, understanding is. So it's saying the wisdom and the knowledge of the world is going to be confounded. It's not going to stand no more. All those things like, science, this and science, all this fucking foolishness that's out in the world
Science
right
is
now.
falsely so cool.
So, yeah, pseudoscience, man, it's abruptly going to put to an end, right? And then it's going to be known that the words of the Heavenly Father, the words that were established before, remember it says, in the same place you put to shame, there shall you be ashamed. The Lord also said in Luke 12 and 49 that shall there be fire before I rise, or signs to that effect. I come to bring fire upon the earth. What we have, if it be already finished. So basically, the Lord's going to have his men, whoever it is, have spiritual power and can break things upon the earth. They ain't going to have no gun. They ain't going to have no bomb. They're going to do magnificent things that, if said, no one will believe, unless they see it. And that's what the Lord's going to do, man. If you do believe, then you have faith in you. The Heavenly Father's giving you the gift of faith. That's where we're at. This is what's going on. Yeah.
So then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when the Lord Jehovah of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, and before his ancients gloriously. Well, that's it. It's going to be done.
Okay.
So let it be. So yeah, so praises to
Yahweh,
Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, the one of the apostles and the great ones of the world.
Shalom to the whole